Good evening. I'll now call the City of Cannon Falls City Council meeting for Tuesday, May the 20th, 2014 to order. Roll call.
Councilmember Duncan.
Here.
Holst.
Here.
Johnson. Here. Mattson.
Here.
McCusker. Here. Schoblum.
Here.
And Mayor Robinson.
Here. All please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City Council meeting this evening. And at this time, the chair will take a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Merle and a second by Bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. At this time, we'll move on to item 5 on the agenda this evening, which is public input. Citizens may speak to items not on the agenda. Before speaking, please give your name, address for the minutes, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Is there anyone wishing to address the council under public input this evening? Seeing as there are none, we will move on to the consent agenda. Items on this area of the agenda may be adopted or they may be removed and placed on the business area of the agenda before discussion purposes. Before approving, for the folks at home, I'll read the consent agenda. Item A is the just and correct claims for the accounting period ending May the 16th, 2014. Item B are the meeting minutes for the May 6, 2014 City Council meeting. Item C, I should say, is food for fines. Item D is credit for water sewer usage for the winter 2013-2014. Item E is Resolution 2076 approving final plat for the Mulville property. Item F is disposal of forfeited vehicles. And item G is Resolution 2077 approving a special assessment agreement and adopting assessment for lateral connection fee. Are there any items anyone wishes to bring down?
A, E, and G.
Item A will become 7B. Which one was the other ones, Leroy?
A, E, and G.
E is Resolution 2076. That will become item 7C. And G is going to be item 7D, which is the special assessment. Okay, with the items of item A, just and correct claims, item E, Resolution 2076, the plat for the Molehill property, and item G, Resolution 2077, approving a special assessment agreement. Are there any other items anyone wishes to bring down? Not, the chair will take a motion to approve the consent agenda minus those items.
So moved.
I'll second that.
A motion by Merle, and a second by Bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. That will bring us on to council business this evening, which is the 2nd Street Southwest Water Main Street project. Mr. Johnson?
Yes, thank you. This goes back to the water main project. Of course, the water main that was that had broke over Easter weekend, and was several attempts at fixing it were done. Water was turned on again, and the main kept breaking. It is a 4-inch main. Greg with SEH has put a cost estimate together for that water main replacement and street reconstruction of approximately total cost of about $140,000, $65,000 on the water main itself. The Public Works Commission discussed this project last Tuesday, and they directed staff to come up with options or a preferred option for moving forward with the project, keeping in mind that time is of the essence because there are temporary service lines. There's plastic hose above ground. Summertime gets to be a little bit of a miserable situation with those temporary service lines. Obviously, wintertime is even worse. But And the Public Works Direction discussed, and Bill, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but discussed trying to do this project, at least the water main project, in as quick of time frame as we possibly could with the limits that we have as a local government. And there would be two options. One would be to go through the total 429 special assessment process, which will take time with the feasibility report, actually calling for bids, so it'll be a formal bid process to do the whole project. The Public Works Commission really thought that the water main was a separate project than the street itself because of the timing, the issue that was out there. And so because the project itself is under, the water main portion of the project is under 100,000, we can call for proposals, don't have to go through the formal bid process, which does speed that up quite a bit. So the recommendation that staff is proposing is to actually break this project into two different components. One would be the water main project, directing SEH to call for proposals for construction of a 6-inch main, and the second motion would be to direct SEH to move forward with a feasibility report on the street reconstruction. So then that would be a Chapter 429 process. So we would go through the public hearings, bidding process, and so forth on that second part of the project, but still be able to get the street done in timely fashion before the end of the fall season.
Ron, how long would it take to do the water main if we went ahead with that tonight? I mean, what time frame are we looking at to get that completed?
I would address Greg with that question.
I mean, since we don't have to go through the bid process.
I would think at least a month. We need a week or so to put the documents together, give the contractor a couple weeks to put numbers together, and then see how that falls and counts the dates. And then once it's awarded, the work itself would probably be a week or two.
So we're talking about a month and a half from now to get that done.
I'd say 6 to 8 weeks, yeah.
Well, it was something I know Public Works, we wrestled with. We knew we had to replace the main as quickly as possible. And so that the compromise, as it were, that staff has come up with, I think is a very good one, that we move ahead, and because it is less than 100,000, we can obtain a couple of proposals to do the water main and get that done in a short period of time, the 6 to 8 weeks that Greg has mentioned. And then the other concern, of course, was do we treat this as a whole city project, or do we do the Chapter 429 for some of it? And I think the Chapter 429 for the road part would be fair and equitable for all parties. And, of course, the city will bear the cost on just the water main part.
Correct.
Any other discussion?
The other thing I wanted to ask was, so we're talking at least 30 days probably before something could get going if it really went well. So we talked at Public Works about, in the meantime, temporarily just saw to crawl through there and get that plastic water main down so that we could at least open up that street. I mean, there's a lot of traffic through there, and that's the church traffic. All has to be rerouted too. So we are kind of blocking off the whole street. I mean, is there a possibility we could just temporarily lower that line so we can get that back open in the meantime?
I think Public Works would have to do that.
Right.
That'd have to be done outside the bidding process.
But you haven't, I mean, we talked about that at Public Works, but you haven't heard any more about it. Okay.
We would have to check with Tom, I think, if the crew would be able to do that for the interim period until
Yeah.
we get that
I mean,
pipe in.
You'd have the gravel problem when it rained and stuff, but at least it'd be open, it'd be working. And it wouldn't be a big deal for them to do that.
Yeah, and I think we can check with Tom and see if he'll if the crew can do that on a temporary basis while we're,
You didn't
assuming we approve this.
You haven't heard anything since the meeting?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? So let's treat this as two separate motions then on this project. At this time, the chair will accept a motion authorizing the city engineer to request proposals to replace the 4-inch water main with a 6-inch water main on 2nd Street Southwest between North Street West and Bell Street West.
So moved.
And I will second that.
I have a motion by Merle and a second by Bill. Any further discussion?
I just wanted to mention to the homeowners up there that it's also in here to put new lines into the house and the new curb boxes. So all the shallowness and problem will be taken care of with this whole project. The mains will be down to over 7 feet, and the water lines will all be from the curb box checked to be down to depth, whatever is acceptable under our engineering. So that is approved, not to just run the main and hook up to what's there. It's in there to fix them shallow water lines too.
And Greg, that's part of that whole process with the main is referring to what, okay.
Typical street project, the water main is replaced, and then the services are replaced back to and including the curb box, not all the way to the house, but to the curb box.
Right, to the curb boxes, yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? Not? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, the second part of this request is to approve a motion directing the city engineer to complete a feasibility study before the reconstruction of the street portion of 2nd Street Southwest between North Street West and Bell Street Southwest.
So moved.
I will second that also.
Motion by Merle and a second by Bill. Any further discussion on this? Not? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. That moves us on to item 7B, which is the just and correct claims. Leroy, you had something on that?
That thing there, Ron, or Linnell, I don't need the answer tonight, but I was looking through that again, and now I see we have telephone leases in there. One was for $4,500. There was two of them for $4,500, and one was for $2,500. It was on page 1 of 41, and I guess I was just wondering if that's our cell phone lease or leases on the cell phone themselves, if that's yearly or quarterly or what that is. And I don't need an answer tonight, but if you could just send me an email and let me know what that's about. I didn't get a chance to call you today, so that's why I had to bring it up tonight here.
Leroy, that's for our shore telephone system that we have here in City Hall that connects all of City Hall, and Public Works is included on that phone system as well. So it's actually a phone system that we purchased several years ago. This is an annual amount that we have to pay for our phone system.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I make a motion to approve
7B.
when was it, A?
7B. Yeah, just and correct claims.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a motion by Leroy. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Merle to approve the just and correct claims for the accounting period ending May the 16th, 2014. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. That moves us on to item 7C, which is going to be Resolution 2076, approving the final plat of the Mole Hill property.
Yeah, the only question I had on that was for Dave. When I was on a planning commission 3-4 years ago, we've seen different drawings of this, different stuff. And I've watched some of the meetings on it. I think you guys have addressed this. The one concern I had with, when I look at them drawings way back when, and then now it looks like the same drawing, the holding pond is over by Highway 19. And my biggest concern with that is there's like a 7-foot culvert across 19 there, right by the school. And that field area there, if that all becomes blacktop, there's going to be a high volume of water. And we certainly can't dump it across that culvert to the school. So, and I seen some of your print in there said something about dumping that towards hardwood. So I just wanted to make sure that we don't start dumping a lot of water across by that school, and now we got a drainage problem over there too.
I'll maybe let Greg respond to this, but we have asked the city engineer to look at the drainage plan for these 6 lots that are part of this plat, and we'll continue to work with Mr. Mulvihill as he brings forward the preliminary plat for the balance of the property with respect to storm drainage. So,
Like any new development like this, when it comes to the stormwater, the requirements are they can't increase the rate the water leaves the site pre-condition versus post-condition. It doesn't mean the volume can't change. It could be more water leaving, but it can't come off any faster than it does now. So we've been working with their engineer on the pond sizing and the piping and stuff like that. So it'll meet the pre-existing rates, and that is a concern that we noticed too. But
Okay.
it'll be similar to all the other developments. We'll have the pond and we've got sized to handle the development when it's done and not discharge any more water at a faster rate than it's leaving the site now.
Okay. Well, thank you. I make a motion to approve that.
I've got another question for Dave. On this plat, are we just approving the plat for those 6 lots tonight?
correct.
Okay, I mean, because I know there's going to be issues, I mean, when the county brings County 24, we're on the other side of that, so I just didn't want to approve something and then have to,
It's just the 6 lots.
okay.
And I'll second Leroy's motion.
So I have a motion by Leroy and a second by Bill to approve the final plat for the 6 lots in the Mobile Hill property. Is there any further discussions? Not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved. That moves us on to item 7D, which is a resolution 2077 approving a special assessment agreement and adopting assessment for lateral connection fee.
That, I think I got a question for Dave on that one is, or Greg, when we did, we had to go under the highway out there to get that sewer and water over there. I forget what that cost us, but it ended up, I think, being like a $38,000 deal. Or the total package was like 90 or 100,000. But then we divided it up between 3 lots. And when I read this assessment thing or this agreement, it's all about sewer and water being $5,000 or $6,000. So I know Leon out there, I thought it was like $38,000 for his portion of it, and then Molnar was supposed to pick up the other 2 or something. So has that all been paid, or is that got to be put in here yet?
Oh, that's a good question. It is a little bit confusing. The overall project cost for that extension of sewer and water under Highway 20 to serve 3 lots. One that Leon Hansen purchased and now has a house on. Second lot, which we're talking about tonight with Jacob and the Wenchels. And the third one is a lot that's still owned by Carl Molinar. So we spread through Ordinance 325, we spread 1/3 of the cost against each one of those lots. Leon Hansen paid his in full. Last year, the Wenchels paid half of their share, which left the $5,800 or so that we're talking about tonight to be assessed. And the balance of the cost on the other 1/3 share will continue to be deferred until such time as someone comes forward to purchase that lot owned by Mr. Molinar and chooses to build a home. So we've got all the costs covered, and the reason that the $5,800 is in this is half of their assessment was paid last year
Okay.
for half of the connection fees.
So it has all been divided out evenly?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Leroy to approve Resolution 2077 for the lateral connection fee.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Leroy, a second by Bill. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Okay, that moves us on to reports. Dave?
Nothing for me, thank you.
I'd like to thank Bolt Construction, and they gave Ron and I a nice tour of the hospital tonight. A very, very wonderful facility it's going to be.
Any updates, Greg, on the interchange, what's happening out there?
It's a big mess, a lot of dirt. It's all going to happen here quickly in the next couple of months. We'll we'll have bids here on the 318th paving here in June for the council. And that'll coincide with the paving that'll go on the county collector as well as the interchange and on the hospital site itself. So it's going to be a busy month of July and August now in that part.
Okay. Brenda?
I have just a couple of things. This week happens to be EMS week, and there is a proclamation from the governor. I won't bore you by reading that, but I would ask that you include that in the minutes when they're written up for this meeting, and I'll give a copy to Linnell for that. The other thing I'd like to do as part of EMS week, I normally recognize employees at that time, and I have a few employees that have a number of years of service with the ambulance, and I'd just like to mention them and recognize those people at this time. I have a number of people who've got 5 years of service in at this time, and that would be Jeremiah Groth, Greg Hepela, Sulo Kyra, Ivan Mazurkowitz, and Elizabeth Piney. And I also have 2 members who have 10 years of service with the ambulance this year, and that would be Mike Eltoff and Christy Macarios. And I'd just like to recognize all those individuals and all the rest of the people on my service who give of their time so faithfully all throughout the year, not just during this week. And that's all I have. Thank you.
And I'd just like to say that, the city couldn't work a lot of times without the work that you guys do out there. I mean, all kind of conditions, whether it's winter, summer, during storms or whatever. EMS is always there answering the call. So thank you to all the EMS staff, for those folks that put in the 5 and the 10 years and all the years that you put in. And I just want to say thank you from the council. Justin?
Just a couple of things actually tonight. If y'all remember, when we were planning the new library, we intentionally sort of left out landscaping as a cost-saving measure. Well, an impromptu group in Cannon Falls has actually come together and actually landscaped the building and just put out some flowers and pots today. So I'd like to say a special thank you to Carol Emery, Barb Kamholtz, Bonnie Vistendahl, Kathy Dalton, Mary Ellen Sturm, Lori Tuttlewall, Dennis and Darkalo, and Sandy Maglick. This group sort of formed, and they've really done some nice landscaping around the library and made it look really nice and complemented the building very good. So they did a great job. And since summer is coming up, I would also like to take this time to push our summer reading to all the children and parents out there in Cannon Falls. During June and July, we'll have various activities at the library. You can check out our Facebook page for a full list, or come by the library and see the different activities that we'll be doing during June and July to reinforce what the children have been learning in school and to give them something to do during the summer. Thank you.
Thanks. Chief?
Well, a few things. This will be the last council meeting before the end of the school year. I just want to remind our residents that when school ends, we're going to have a lot of kids out and about during the daytime as well. So, please watch for them when you're driving. They're going to be playing and having fun and not necessarily paying attention to cars. With that, we are going into Memorial Weekend, which is going to kick off a lot of our summer events here in town. The first of which will be the Memorial Day Parade on Monday. So I just want to remind our residents there will be some disruption along the parade route while that's moving through, but it should be very minimal. But again, plan for it and be patient if they get delayed. And I'll have more as we get more of our summer events coming along. That's all I have.
Ron?
I have nothing. I will be submitting like a first quarter kind of report, kind of a summary of my activities from day one, which was March 10th. So it's been almost 2.5 months now. So I've enjoyed it. The welcome that I've received is quite overwhelming, actually. Thank you. Nothing else.
Merle?
Nothing.
Nothing. A couple of things. First, back about a week and a half ago, we had an employee recognition breakfast. We as council members don't always get to say thanks for the job that our staff does. Plus, it was a very good breakfast. And we always recognize, similar to what Brenda just did with some of the EMS people, we recognize time of service with little proclamations that we hand out. And so I want to thank staff for the job they do. And go ahead, Linnell.
I was just going to say that I actually have a memo prepared for your next city council meeting with a list of all those employees that received that recognition. So you'll see that at the next meeting with the years of service for each of those employees.
Okay. And the other thing, earlier this evening, you know, we passed the water and sewer credit for those that ran their water during a few winter months. And Public Works, during the course of the summer here, will be working on a policy for future things. If we ever get a winter like that again, hopefully we'll have a policy in place so we all know where we stand and how we're going to handle it.
Leroy? Wake up.
I just wanted to say last Saturday I was on call, and I think last Saturday must have been our going out day in Cannon Falls, that people are finally over the winter, because it was amazing to me. I went by the Dairy Inn and that was full of cars. I went by the golf course, that was full of cars. The parks were full of cars, the trail was full of cars, so hopefully spring is here and everybody's ready to get out the way it looks. Thank you.
Nothing. Nope. I have nothing. Everybody just enjoy the spring. Memorial Day is Monday, so the parade will be at 10:30 with the ceremony to follow. And everybody please come out and pay homage to the folks that have paid the price of freedom. So with that, the chair will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.